Peter Ramsey didn't grow up believing he could be a director. Growing up in Crenshaw, he didn't think making movies was something regular people did. He thought films were made by these extraordinary people. He was someone who instead focused a lot on his drawing. For a long time, he thought he'd be a comic book artist. But then he discovered storyboards. Looking at them, something clicked. These weren't just drawings, they were movies before the movie existed. And for the first time, filmmaking felt reachable. Not a dream job, a craft. Working as a storyboard artist put him in rooms with directors on massive productions. He watched how they spoke to departments, how they shaped tone, how they made decisions under pressure. It became his film school, not theory but observation. He learned filmmaking by watching filmmakers solve problems. So when he eventually stepped into directing, he didn't approach it like an auteur with a megaphone. He approached it like a collaborator. That shows up clearly in the kinds of stories Ramsey gravitates towards. Stories about belonging, identity, and the emotional interior life of characters navigating worlds bigger than themselves. While he and his co directors were developing the story for Spider Man Into the Spider Verse, he fell in love with Miles Morales and his family, his parents, his uncle, his environment, and wanted audiences to feel that authenticity. The goal wasn't just to watch a hero succeed, it was also to root for him. Ramsey isn't interested in characters who are powerful because they're perfect. He's interested in characters who are powerful because they're figuring it out. That motivation feels personal. For much of his career, he didn't see himself as a pioneer. Even after becoming the first Black filmmaker to win the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature or the first African American to direct an animated feature after Rise of the Guardians. To him, the job was simply to do good work and honor the people behind it. The crew, the artists, the hundreds of collaborators animation depends on. That attitude carries into how people describe him on a production. Calm, focused on tone and style, generous with credit. Less a commander, more a conductor, making sure every piece harmonizes. And maybe that's why his films resonate the way that they do. Peter Ramsey makes stories about finding your place in a world that feels predetermined because his own path into filmmaking wasn't obvious either. He didn't kick the door down, he discovered the door was unlocked all along. And then he held it open for others. So tonight we are giving Peter Ramsey his flowers. If you haven't already watched his films, we highly recommend that you do so.